Believe and act as if it were impossible for you to fail. Charles Kingsley. These words resonate in the hearts of those who dare to fight, even when victory seems impossible. Throughout history, certain battles have transcended the realm of mere military engagements. They've become symbols of courage, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. These are the last stands, where legends are born, and Thermopylae stands as a beacon among them. From the ancient world to modern times, last stands grip our imagination. These desperate struggles against insurmountable odds capture the essence of human resilience. They remind us that even in the darkest hour, the flame of courage can burn brightest. The Alamo, Rorke's Drift, and Stalingrad each tells a tale of extraordinary bravery and sacrifice, but few resonate with the same power and enduring legacy as Thermopylae. In 480 BC, the vast Persian Empire, led by King Xerxes, set its sights on Greece. This was not just a simple military campaign, it was a monumental clash of civilizations. The Persian Empire, stretching from the Indus Valley to the Aegean Sea, was one of the largest and most powerful empires the world had ever seen. Driven by ambition and vengeance for past defeats, Xerxes assembled an enormous army. This was a force unlike any other, composed of soldiers from every corner of the empire. From the elite immortals to the cavalry and archers, the Persian army was a diverse and formidable force. This force was said to have numbered in the millions, though modern estimates suggest a still imposing figure of several hundred thousand. The logistics of such an army were staggering, requiring vast amounts of food, water, and supplies. The Persian war machine was a marvel of organization and efficiency. The Persian Empire was a behemoth, hungry for conquest. Its expansion had been relentless, swallowing up smaller kingdoms and city-states with ease. The empire's reach extended across 3 continents, and its influence was felt far and wide. It threatened to crush the fledgling Greek city-states under its iron heel. The Greeks, with their rich culture and fierce independence, were in grave danger. The Persian threat loomed large, casting a shadow over the entire Greek world. The Greeks, though fiercely independent, were vastly outnumbered. Each city-state had its own government, its own army, and its own way of life. Yet, in the face of the Persian threat, they had to find a way to come together. Their only hope lay in unity. The leaders of the Greek city-states, including Athens and Sparta, realized that they had to put aside their differences and work together. This was no easy task, as the Greeks were known for their fierce rivalries and internal conflicts. Recognizing the gravity of the threat, a coalition of Greek city-states led by Athens and Sparta assembled to meet the Persian onslaught. This coalition was a remarkable achievement, bringing together some of the most powerful and influential city-states in Greece. Their goal to halt the Persian advance for as long as possible. The Greeks chose the narrow pass of Thermopylae as their battleground, a place where their smaller numbers could hold off the vast Persian army. The stage was set for one of the most famous battles in history, a clash that would determine the fate of Greece and the future of Western civilization. The narrow coastal pass of Thermopylae, meaning the hot gates due to its nearby hot springs, was chosen as the battleground. This location was not selected by chance. It was a deliberate choice made by the Greeks to exploit the natural geography to their advantage. The hot springs, which gave the pass its name, were a well-known landmark, but it was the narrowness of the pass that made it an ideal defensive position. In ancient times, controlling such a choke point could mean the difference between victory and defeat. This strategic choke point, with steep cliffs on one side and the sea on the other, provided a defensive advantage to the Greeks. The cliffs were nearly impassable, and the sea prevented any flanking maneuvers by the enemy. This natural fortress allowed a smaller force to hold off a much larger one, as the Persians would be forced to attack head-on through the narrow pass. The Greeks understood that by holding Thermopylae they could delay the Persian advance and protect the heartland of Greece. It was here that the Spartans, renowned for their martial prowess and unwavering discipline, would make their stand. The Spartans were trained from a young age to be warriors, and their society was built around the principles of duty, honor, and sacrifice. They were the perfect soldiers for such a critical mission. Their phalanx formation with overlapping shields and long spears was nearly impenetrable in such a confined space. The Spartans' reputation alone was enough to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Leading the Spartan contingent was their king, Leonidas I. Leonidas was not just a ruler, he was a warrior king who led by example. His presence on the battlefield was a powerful symbol of Spartan resolve and courage. Leonidas knew the importance of the mission and the likely outcome, but he was determined to fulfill his duty to his people and to Greece. His leadership would inspire his men to fight with unparalleled bravery and determination. He brought with him 300 Spartans, the elite warriors of his kingdom. These men were handpicked for their skill, strength, and loyalty. They were not just soldiers, they were the best of the best, each one capable of holding his own against multiple opponents. The number 300 has become legendary, symbolizing the ultimate sacrifice and the willingness to stand against overwhelming odds. These Spartans knew that their mission was likely a one-way trip, but they were prepared to give their lives for the greater good. They were joined by approximately 7,000 allies from other Greek city-states. These allies came from various regions, each bringing their own unique skills and fighting styles. The unity of these diverse forces was a testament to the shared threat they faced, and their collective determination to defend their homeland. The presence of these allies also highlighted the significance of the battle. It was not just a Spartan stand, but a united Greek effort to resist the Persian invasion. They knew the odds were stacked against them, but they were determined to sell their lives dearly. The Greeks understood that their stand at Thermopylae was not just a military action, but a statement of defiance. They were fighting for their freedom, their way of life, and their future. Each warrior was prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, knowing that their actions would be remembered for generations to come. Their determination and courage would become a rallying cry for all of Greece. Their sacrifice would buy precious time for the other Greek forces to prepare for the inevitable Persian onslaught. The stand at Thermopylae was a delaying action, meant to slow down the Persian advance and give the rest of Greece time to organize a more comprehensive defense. The bravery and sacrifice of the Spartans and their allies would not be in vain. Their actions would inspire the Greek forces and contribute to the eventual defeat of the Persian invasion. The Battle of Thermopylae remains a powerful symbol of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring spirit of resistance against overwhelming odds. The Persian army, a vast sea of soldiers from every corner of Xerxes' empire, arrived at Thermopylae. This was no ordinary army, it was a force that had swept across nations, leaving a trail of conquest in its wake. The sheer number of soldiers, their armor glinting under the sun, was a sight to behold. They moved with a purpose, their eyes set on the narrow pass that stood between them and their next victory. They were met with an unexpected sight, a small band of Greek soldiers calmly preparing for battle. These were not just any soldiers, they were Spartans, renowned for their rigorous training and unyielding spirit. Despite being heavily outnumbered, they showed no signs of fear or hesitation. Their calm demeanor was a stark contrast to the overwhelming force that approached them. They seemed unfazed by the sheer size of the Persian force. The Spartans stood resolute, their eyes fixed on the enemy, their minds focused on the battle ahead. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew that their training and discipline would be their greatest weapons. Each Spartan was prepared to fight to the death, to defend their homeland and their honor. Xerxes, expecting a swift victory, waited for 4 days, hoping the Greeks would lose their nerve and flee. He watched from a distance, confident that his massive army would intimidate the small Greek force into submission. But as the days passed, he grew increasingly frustrated. The Greeks showed no signs of retreating. Instead, they continued to prepare, their resolve seemingly growing stronger with each passing day. On the 5th day, Xerxes' patience ran out. He could no longer wait for the Greeks to surrender. His frustration turned to anger, and he decided to take decisive action. He summoned his generals and gave the order to attack. The time for waiting was over. It was time to crush the defiant Greeks and claim victory. He sent his elite troops, the Immortals, to crush the defiant Greeks. The Immortals were confident. They were the best of the best, hand-picked for their skill and bravery. They had never known defeat, and they approached the battle with the same confidence that had carried them through countless victories. They believed that the Greeks would be no match for their superior numbers and training. They were accustomed to easy victories. The Immortals had faced many enemies before, and they had always emerged victorious. They had become legends in their own right, their names synonymous with invincibility. As they marched towards the Greek lines, they expected this battle to be no different. They believed that the Spartans would fall just like all the others who had dared to stand against them. However, they had underestimated the Spartans' ferocity and discipline. The Spartans were not like any enemy they had faced before. They fought with a level of intensity and coordination that took the immortals by surprise. Each Spartan moved with precision, their actions perfectly synchronized with their comrades. They fought not as individuals but as a single, cohesive unit. The Greeks, fighting shoulder to shoulder in the narrow pass, repelled wave after wave of Persian attacks. The narrow terrain worked to their advantage, neutralizing the Persians' numerical superiority. The Spartans held their ground, their shields locked together, their spears thrusting forward with deadly accuracy. The Persians, despite their best efforts, could not break through the Greek phalanx. The battle raged on, but the Spartans remained unyielding, their defiance a testament to their strength and courage. Despite heavy losses, the Greeks held their ground. Xerxes, enraged by the unexpected resistance, threw more troops into the fray. However, the narrow terrain continued to negate the Persian numerical advantage. The Greeks, fighting with unwavering courage and tactical brilliance, inflicted heavy casualties. Leonidas's Spartans in particular fought with legendary ferocity. Their discipline and skill in close combat proved devastating. Their long spears and interlocking shields forming an almost impenetrable wall shattered the Persian assaults.